Joshua in
Oh,
South
yeah.
Carolina. Yeah?
Yeah, Joshua's been waiting. I'd like to see what he has to say. He really wants to talk to us.
Fair enough. Josh, what's on your mind
I
today?
mean, Christy.
Howdy.
Hey.
Hey. Oh, nothing super important. I was reading a popular fantasy series not too long ago, or rereading actually, and I had learned that the author was actually a Mormon, and so that kind of put the actions of a character in a new light, who
Sure.
kind of started to struggle with his faith after a a bad misfortune.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it was written, it kind of, like, faith had not made sense to me for a long time. But I mean, the way it was written kind of, I guess, sort of like put it in a new light. And I was struck by the way that faith, I guess, to be convincing, it seems like it needs to mean both that, that you have hope that good things can happen to you or in the world in general, but also mean that, you have to accept things without any good reason to think that they're true. And I'm wondering, do you have like a good way to, like, when you're talking to people, do you have a good way to disentangle those ideas? Like, I've watched the show a lot, but I don't. Do you have a good method for doing that?
Yeah, it's certainly tricky. Faith is one of those very elastic terms that tends to mean whatever the person who is saying it wants it to mean, and never means what they don't want it to mean. It can be really, really difficult to nail down. And so I think the conversation has to include asking people, well, what does faith mean to you? When I say that I have faith that the sun is coming up tomorrow, I don't think I mean the same thing as somebody who says that they have faith in the Lord Jesus Christ to save their soul. But I don't entirely know how to parse those things out. Jimmy, can you help at all?
Well, as far as what I would do in order to kind of show how maybe or disentangle this idea of faith, I tend to point to the history of how religion comes about. This is not a phenomena that is new, and it is incredibly nuanced. And a lot of the religions that we have come from other religions that predated it. And they share a lot of the same characteristics. So I kind of like to talk to people about what they believe in a very matter-of-fact type of way, without kind of poo-pooing on their ideas. So a couple of the things that you said, Joshua, were faith could be, just a way of people saying that they hope something good happens to them. Yeah, I would attest that most people think that faith is kind of this wishful thinking, but it's not, like you said, something that happens without good reason, or believing without good reason. Now, many of us atheists, I think, are comfortable with that phrase, right? Faith is the belief in something without evidence, or you have no good reason to believe it. But at some point, and most of us on the show, or most of us with the ACA, were theists before, and we had good reasons to believe. The reasons for me were that, well, people I trusted gave me these ideas, people that took care of me. They were bigger than me. They were smarter than me. They fed me. They protected me. They gave me clothes and shelter and a lot of fun times, Christmases, birthday presents. Of course, they must be right about this, right? And that was good enough for me as a youth. And that kind of thing just carries along. People bring that through their entire lives. And especially when you come from a community that has elders and songs and psalms and books about it. Well, it all has to fit together, right? It all must mean something. And I think that that's where most people end up on it. And so I wouldn't say that it's no good reason. For a lot of people, it's a good enough reason. But yeah, getting into it and dissecting it, it has to be done, like I said earlier in the show, very delicately, because you don't want to put people down and make them feel stupid. We just had a last caller that or two callers ago that said, well, we think that people who are spiritual are all stupid and crazy. That's not true at all. That's not true at all, you know? And the last thing I want to do is have an educated, informed discussion with people and give them the impression that I think that I am superior, you know, mentally or otherwise, or if they are any less than me because they have this belief. I just happen to be somebody who dug a little bit into what I was being told, some of the counter arguments to the things that I grew up in, taking courses on the literature of the Bible, learning about the origins of Greek mythology, learning the origins about Zoroastrianism, or how at the same time that Christianity was being born, there were other religions that already existed, and those were born from previous religions. That's kind of my method for approaching it, because I think by doing that, by being able to point to history and being able to kind of give these enlightening, I don't know, facts, if you will, you're not attacking the person directly. And so that's my tangent, Joshua. I hope that wasn't too much for you, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
No, that's good.
Okay.
I guess my thought is, have you heard of the curse of knowledge?
Are you talking about like a specific piece of fiction or the broad general concept? How do you mean?
The concepts, like the epistemological concepts.
Yeah. I mean, sure. The things that we know can get in the way. Help us see how it connects here.
Well, so I used to be a believer a long time ago. And I recently became an atheist, but I've been like basically agnostic for a long time. And so I had completely forgotten what it was like to have faith or to think that faith was a good thing. I just like, it felt like and you know, I guess it's sort of an arrogant way of phrasing it, but I feel like I have knowledge now that, you know, epistemology is supposed to work this way.
Right.
And,
sure.
So faith, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to say that people who have faith like that are, you know, that I'm better than them, but it has been confusing to me for a long time why anyone would think that way.
No, and I think that same cognitive bias, that same like curse of knowledge ideal shows up on the other side of the aisle in these conversations. I mean, if we recognize that the word knowledge doesn't necessarily have to mean facts, it doesn't necessarily have to be something that we believe or know to be true that actually is true. And so often we'll have conversations where people will say something like, well, this Bible verse very much proves that God is in control of the entire universe. And they just know that to be true on such a level that they can't even comprehend that somebody else could look at that Bible verse and be completely confused. So it is a barrier that gets in the way of a lot of these kinds of conversations. And it's something that I encounter constantly in my work with people who are recovering from religious trauma. There's so many things that they maybe just take for granted as being true that when somebody outside asks questions or offers some confusion around it, it's hard for them to even necessarily understand where the issue is or what confusion or problem might exist.
Mm-hmm.
And Joshua, you know, there's something that we left out, or I left out, that Christy kind of alluded to, and that is the idea of religious trauma. You know, people are tormented throughout their lives with this kind of thinking, and can't think of anything scarier than you know, pushing their thoughts, their beliefs to the side, you know, because it is just a horrifying outcome for them. And on that note, I'm not going to let Christy walk away with this without mentioning it, but we did have a caller on Truth Wanted on Friday night by the name of Emmanuel. Emmanuel is a frequent caller of all our shows. And Emmanuel, if you're listening, I'd love to chat with you, because I've never talked to you before, but I give a lot of credit to Emmanuel, because he said some things the other day. First of all, that the ACA has helped him, and I'm going to quote, along his journey. And I think that is an awesome thing that he's on a journey. But he specifically mentioned Christy, and I would say give Christy a very congratulatory pat on the back. But that just goes to show you that Christy's familiarity with working through religious trauma and helping people with that kind of thing it sheds light on the fact that a lot of people will hold on to this trauma for a really, really long time.
Sure.
And that is the good reason that they have this faith, no matter what, and so I'm proud of Emmanuel. I wanted to shout him out on Talk Heathen today. But I'm proud that the work that the ACA is doing. And I just wanted to kind of put that plug in there.
Oh, no, thank you. I appreciate it. And I'll let you go. But before I do you guys have any good book recommendations?
Oh, boy. Well, what kind of books you looking for?
Fiction, nonfiction, any kind of...
Sure.
Anything.
I'll tell you what. I am lately, for like the last 3 months, I'm like, I don't know, become like this Egyptologist, right? I've been studying everything Egypt, and I'm not afraid to admit it, but I got this book right here. Everything you want to know about ancient Egypt and Nubia, okay? Fully explained. Dude, I am learning so much about Egypt. I'm like beside myself with facts and information. So I guess I'm just gonna plug that book for you. I think it's been great, but I will tell you this: there are a lot of podcasts that I listen to that are historically based. Yeah, I mean, there's one that I listen to called The Ancients that spreads a lot of that has a lot of information on ancient religions, ancient cultures, which I think you'll get a lot out of. And so I would go there maybe, but I pulled a book down for an earlier caller. I've got a whole shelf full of books. So if you want a history nerd's opinion, I'm into Egypt right now.
All right, I'll look into it. Anything for me, Christy?
I'm going to stand by my recommendation of Differences by Franz de Waal. This past summer, I hit a lot of Franz de Waal's work in primatology, and I'll tell you what, it will make you question what it means to be human in some pretty powerful and interesting ways. And I think, Are We Smart Enough to Know How Smart Animals Are by Franz de Waal is also a really, really excellent piece of work. So yeah, if I can offer you any book club recommendations, that might be my one for right now.
Sweet, I'll look them up. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, take care.
Take care.